Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. We shift gears a little bit. We're talking about the 2018 Youth Ambassadors Program. Joining us on set, U.S. Embassy coordinators Afisha Beckles and Vanessa Thomas. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
So what is the Youth Ambassadors Program exactly?
The Youth Ambassadors Program, it's for young persons between the ages of 15 to 18 years old. It's an opportunity for them to go to the United States, where they will engage in a 3-week exchange focused on cultural opportunities, cultural exchange, as well as civic engagement, and basically focusing on leadership as well.
Okay, how long have we been engaged in this program?
So this program started in 2012, and so we've had approximately 45 students and mentors participate on the program thus far.
Wow, so students and mentors, and you mentioned the age between 15 to 18? Okay, so how do you select youth ambassadors?
Well, it's a process where we have an application process, which is actually going on right now. The deadline is the 27th of April. We ask students to submit applications, which would include things like their grades, reference letters, as well as their family information.
Okay. So is that sufficient information to make a selection, or what do you look for exactly?
So of course the requirement is 15 to 18 years old. They must be enrolled in secondary school, come from limited economic means, simply because this program is actually sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. So it's fully funded. So students, there's no cost to the student or to the parent.
Okay.
And so, in addition to the other things that Afisha mentioned, one of the key things that she spoke about with regards to leadership is that we would like to have persons already engaged in the process.
So like perhaps you're a class prefect or something like that?
Or even working in the community. There is no limit in terms of what leadership we're looking for.
Okay, so how do you go about selecting people from schools? Do schools have to apply? What is the process like?
Well, we do encourage schools to encourage their students to apply, but it's individual application. So students from any secondary school can put in their application. We go through a process where we rigorously review all of the applications, and then we actually bring in students to be interviewed. So those would be the semi-finalists. From there, we choose 6 students who will participate, as well as 2 alternates. And just a reminder, we're also at this time looking for a mentor who would accompany the students on the trip as well.
Oh, this is interesting. How do you apply to be a mentor? What are you looking for?
So the process is more or less the same. They submit their application, and the website where the applications are being submitted right now is youthambassadors.worldlearning.org. So the mentor has to be someone who is also working in the community in terms of whether it's a teacher or someone who is a youth leader. So they must also demonstrate that potential for leadership, as well as an interest in youth.
Yeah. Well, this has been ongoing for quite a number of years now. How successful has it been?
We have had students come out with Fulbright scholarships, having been on the program, and it's not as a result of being on the program, but the exposure that students get, it opens up their abilities. They think of the world a lot more broadly than they would here in the Nook in Trinidad and Tobago. So having that opportunity, they see the world, they want to travel, they want to go back to the United States and study. And so they apply themselves in secondary school, and we've had 3 open scholarship winners from this program. But that's just the far end of the extreme. Our students are graduates from UE, UTT. We also have students who went straight into the working system. So it's not just to say, you have academic ability, but it's the ability to multiply the information that you receive. How do you impart this information to your peers, to your co-workers? Of course, most of them are a little bit older now. Of course, the 2012 group are more or less young adults, able to influence in the organizations. These are persons that we hope to be future leaders one day. And so this is what we're looking for, world changers.
How many students are you looking at every year? How many are selected?
It's usually 5 to 6. This year it's 6 students.
Oh, so you have already selected?
No.
The application
You're
process is
looking for
open
6,
right now,
yeah.
so it's still open, and we're looking for 6 students.
Okay. Have you had people apply so far? People been applying?
Yes,
Yeah?
applications are coming in, and we want to encourage as many applications as possible. We want to get a diverse group of students as well. So we want people from South, Central, East Tobago. We encourage students from all over the country.
So let's look at the actual process. Where is it going to be held?
So it takes place in the United States. The 3-week exchange itself
So it's a
takes place
3-week,
in
okay.
the US. It starts off in, usually it's
In Vermont.
Vermont.
And they travel to DC, and then they go to a separate state. So the group is actually not just Trinidad and Tobago, it's the rest of the Caribbean also. So in total, there are about 40 students participating on this program. And so when the group meets up in Vermont, then they disperse to the 3 states that will be arranged closer to the date, and then it ends in DC.
So could you help us to understand some of the activities they would be engaged in during this 3-week period?
Okay, so I'll take that question. Some of the activities that they're involved in, of course, as Afisha would have mentioned, volunteerism, leadership, entrepreneurship. This program is actually looking at social transformation. That's the theme of the program this year.
Social transformation.
Social transformation. So basically, they're looking at moving students from one element to another element, of course, a higher level. So most of the programs will be geared along that process. And of course, while I may make it seem like it's just work, there is downtime. They're actually allowed to go to museums and go to baseball games. It all depends on what time of the year it is. And this year it's around August, so it's vacation time. So they have a little bit more leeway in terms of it still being summer up there. So.
So you spoke about volunteerism, you spoke about cultural activities, leadership, social transformation. What's the setting like? Is it like a workshop type setting?
Yes, it is. So it's a workshop type setting, but it's a lot more engaging than just sitting down in a classroom and learning. It's about getting involved. Some of the students actually go out and they do soup kitchen volunteerism, they plant a garden, they paint murals. It's very hands-on experience, so they actually get to learn while doing.
And a key part of that
Sure.
Vanessa is talking about, which I don't think we mentioned, is that they actually stay with a family for a part of the program. So they really get an opportunity to experience family life in the US. So each student is placed with a family for a week or so, correct?
Yes, and you're opening up your eyes.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
All families are vetted.
Yes.
All families
Yes,
are vetted, and these are
definitely.
persons that would have been doing this program for a number of years. Not just the youth ambassadors, but several other exchange programs. So they are vetted by the U.S. Department of
that's good to
State.
know.
So parents, be aware, you're not leaving your children in any crazy hands. Even the mentor is vetted before.
Okay, and
So-
one mentor.
One mentor
per
accompanies
team.
per country.
And it's Caribbean countries
And
that
it's
are
Caribbean
involved?
countries, yes.
So how beneficial, based on your experience with this, and you're here promoting it, based on your experience, how beneficial is something like this to a young person?
Well, it's a life-changing experience. I mean, I'm just looking at the youth ambassadors that went last year.
Yes.
They've come back, and you can tell they've matured. A lot of them their leadership skills are even more increased. They're willing and they want to go on even more programs. They're out there encouraging other students to participate in the program. A part of the program as well is that they come back to their home country and they work on a project that they created while they were on the exchange. And right now, our last year cohort, they are working on their current project. And just the enthusiasm that they've shown, they've been able to raise funds on their own. They are going out there and working with, doing school visits and encouraging other students to participate as well in their project. So I think it really is a life-changing experience for them, and it really helps with their maturity and their willingness to help their communities.
I'm very interested in the project that they created. Could you provide us with some more information on what they're required to do when they return?
So part of the experience is while you're in the US, you do many different projects. And so the group of themselves, they determine what project they would like to implement here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Can you give me an example? Like,
So over the years, the projects have ranged. We've had students who have refurbished libraries in Tobago. They have done agricultural projects, and not just traditional agriculture. We look at vertical farming. We look at aquaponics. You have students who went into career planning. We look at students who have done, there's no limit. It all depends on what they've learned while they're in the US and what they see as valuable to contribute to Trinidad and Tobago at that particular time. So as Afisha would have mentioned, our last group, they looked at agriculture and something in terms of the foreign exchange rate, and that, you know, they grew so much that they're looking at these major issues and how they can help. And one of the things they decided to do was an agricultural program, but not just to do farming, but to teach students and make it up, you know, make it fun. Engage the schools. Hey, it's a competition. Who can do the best crops? And you know, and it's completely done by the students. We have no input, just to say, okay, we're going to guide you, how you're going to take the steps. But they are the ones who implement, they reach out to the schools, they do everything. This is their project.
Yeah, this is really good. I wish it was around in my time. Your closing comments, what would you like to say to those looking on?
So for those looking on, whether it's parents, whether it's teachers, if it's students themselves, I know it's a bit early and school is closed, but we really want to encourage them to apply. The deadline is the 27th of April, 15 to 18 years old. The website to apply is youthambassadors.worldlearning.org.
And what do you need? A certificate of? I'm joking. A police house. What documents you need?
So they just need to be able to demonstrate what their current grades are. They need to have 2 reference letters as well as their personal information and a photo.
Great. Your closing comments?
I would definitely tell students, apply. There is absolutely no cost to you or your parent. Therefore, there's nothing that limits you. The only thing that limits you is yourself.
Wow. Great. Well said. Thank you so much, ladies. Very, very interesting topic. We've been chatting with Afisha Beckles and Vanessa Thomas, U.S. Embassy coordinators of the Youth Ambassadors Program.